Dude, honestly, like, just put Denzel Washington in every movie that's being made from now until the end of time or until the day he dies. The dude just makes everything great. He's a masterclass. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Alex, and today I'm going to be talking about the third and final, supposedly, installments in the Equalizer trilogy, The Equalizer 3. Once again directed by Antoine and once again starring Denzel Washington as Robert McCall. Robert McCall finds himself at home in southern Italy, but he discovers his friends are under the control of local crime bosses. As events turn deadly, McCall knows what he has to do: become his friend's protector by taking on the mafia. I actually really enjoy the Equalizer movies. I think I prefer 1 over 2, but the one constant throughout all 3 of these movies, aside from Antoine Fuqua, I'll talk about him too, is the legend himself, Denzel Washington. Anything with Denzel, I'm there. This man can turn a bad movie into mediocrity. He can turn mediocrity into something that's at least good. That's exactly what he does with all 3 of these Equalizer movies. I just love seeing Denzel, an old Denzel, be a badass, kick some ass, and deliver his brand of justice. I guess that's one of my problems with the Equalizer 3 is that compared to the first 2, he doesn't deliver as much justice as those 2 movies. I'm like, I feel like he's kicking ass in almost every scene in those 2 movies. In this one, he's kind of living a quiet life. He's enjoying his peace. He's retired. He got hurt, and now he's just like, yep, I'm just gonna settle down, enjoy my quiet life, connect with the people around this nice little Italian village, and eat spaghetti, and drink some espressos, and cappuccinos, and tea. I feel like what I just described is like the most stereotypical description of what Italy is supposed to be like. And so that's much of the movie here, but Denzel, man, when he is on, man, he is on, and he is always on. Never ever have I seen this man phone in a performance. Denzel is committed. In these 3 movies, Denzel has the flair of Liam Neeson and the skills of John Wick. Like, Denzel versus Keanu. Give it to me. With a hint of Liam Neeson in there. I could watch that any day of the week. When he delivers the justice in this movie, it is brutal, it is bloody, it's kind of like, oh shit, a bit shocking how it just the ways he kills people. I mean, the ways he kills people in all these movies are just you're just like, well, yep, nope, I don't want to run into Denzel on the streets. You go from shooting somebody with a nail gun in the first one to slicing somebody's throat with a credit card in this one to stabbing somebody through the throat with a fireplace poker in this one. Yeah, man knows how to deliver brutal justice. And I guess that's a credit to Antoine Fuqua as a director too. This doesn't feel like it's a very generic directing job from Antoine Fuqua. He tries a couple of new things in here. There's a couple of fade outs towards the end of the movie that I actually really dug. One of them, I was just like, I don't know if I would have put a fade to black there, but I guess it worked for the passage of time. But there's like one scene where McCall is thinking back, and you see the scene playing out. It's what essentially happens at the beginning of the movie. It's because at the beginning of the movie, you see an aftermath of something. But then you see the scene play out again in Robert McCall's mind, and it's filmed as if it's like a first-person shooter. I thought that was actually really interesting. I thought that was a really unique choice that Fuqua made right there. And it really puts you in the shoes of McCall, really gets you to understand how he delivers his brand of justice a little bit more. I just wanted him to deliver it a little bit more than he did. The first hour or so of this movie, he's chilling in this town. He's trying to make connections with all these town folk, and I get it. That's essentially how these movies are structured. As much as I had connections with some of these people, and I was glad that he found his peace in this little town and that he was making friends with people in this town, and that's really the whole point of those scenes in the movie. I get the point. I just felt like I didn't have as much of a connection with any of these people. Like Chloe Grace Moretz in the first one, teenage prostitute, trying to save her from the Russian mafia. Ashton Sanders in the second one, trying to save him from joining a gang. This one, I'm just like, all these people are connected to this person. That person's gonna send his street thugs to just kill the entire town, and now you just messed up Robert McCall's day. Okay, I get it. I didn't have an emotional connection to any of these people. And if I did, it's only because it's Denzel as Robert McCall. If this was anybody else, these movies would not be anywhere as good as they are right now. but because it's Denzel, because Denzel's the GOAT, he's a living legend, he makes all of this worth it. So there is a small emotional connection, I guess, because it's Denzel, but I don't have as much of a connection to any of these people in this town like I did with Chloe Grace Moretz in the first one or Ashton Sanders in the second one. I also felt that the third act is a little weak. My problem with the second one, I feel like these last couple final confrontations with the actual main villain in these last two Equalizer movies feel a bit weak, and maybe that's the point. Maybe it's not supposed to be this grand action spectacle that you're expecting. They're more action thrillers, and I get that. I've only seen the first one maybe like 3 or 4 times, and it's been probably 4 years since I've seen the first one, and I remember the final confrontation in that movie more than I remember the final confrontation in the second one with Pedro Pascal, and I'm definitely going to remember it more than the final confrontation in this one. He's got a particular set of skills, but things just come a little too easy for me in that. I'm like, yeah, I mean, I get how he could do that, but when it comes to the actual main villain of the movie, I could have used a little bit more. I get they're not supposed to be gigantic action movies like John Wick, which is what I think these movies get compared to. They're supposed to be more action thriller-ish movies. I could have used a little bit more justice from Robert McCall in this movie, and I could have used a stronger confrontation with the main villain of this movie in the third act. And when you look deep below the surface, take Denzel out of the equation, it is a very formulaic movie. These movies are very formulaic. The first two, at least, also have structure problems where it's like, something happens, Robert McCall goes to help somebody, and then there's this like series of side events that he does, and then the main plot comes back in, then kind of takes a break, goes and helps a whole bunch of other people. That's what really happens in the first two. I will give the credit to this one where credit is due, where I do think that it felt more straightforward than those first two, and it didn't have those structure problems. I felt as if every scene mattered in this movie. Even the smaller scenes with Robert McCall connecting with all these townsfolk. Even when it wasn't focused on the Italian mafia doing Italian mafia things and street thugs threatening an entire town because their boss said so, I still felt like the structure for this movie was better than the first two, even if the pacing isn't necessarily as good as the first two. Antoine Fuqua knows how to make a movie, though. You can't deny one thing about all three of these movies, and I felt it with this one in particular, since he did add a couple of fresh things into this. They are well made. The action is brutal. It's all in camera. The cinematography is nice. Editing is up to par. Technical aspects like that can really enhance a movie as much as Denzel does and as much as Antoine Fuqua does. The man knows how to make a movie. And Denzel is his salesman. That's essentially what it is. I do think this is the weakest of the Equalizer trilogy, but it might take a rewatch to have it be on par with the first one or the second one. I think I like the first one the most, but I think on my Letterboxd I have 1 and 2 at the same rating, and I have this one as the worst rating, and that's at a 3. You know, that might change. I might like this as much as the first two. I think that this is a really solid, underrated trilogy, and I'm glad Denzel got to do a trilogy in his career. He's never done a trilogy before. He's the perfect salesman for a movie like this. He just makes formulaic mediocrity so much better, and if he's not in it, that's exactly what these movies are. But it's Denzel, the GOAT, the legend. I enjoyed The Equalizer 3 with 3/4 worth of a bucket of popcorn. Almost said half a bucket of popcorn, maybe slightly more, but I think 3/4 is enough. These movies are really enjoyable. I think we got an underrated trilogy on our hands. Really curious to know what you guys think of The Equalizer 3, so if you do see The Equalizer 3, let me know what you think about it and what your favorite of the 3 Equalizer movies is. Drop me a comment in the comment section below. I will leave my link to my website in the description below as well. You guys are the best. Thank you for watching. My name is Alex Madden, and I will see you at the movies somewhere.